So now we're going to create our test settings file. To create a test settings file, you go into the run settings of the test plan. So we can see here that we have manual runs and automated runs. It's worth noting when creating a test settings file that a lot of the diagnostic data adapters are reliant on you having a build management and test controller set up on your testing server, and also having testing agents placed on the testing machines which you'll be carrying out the tests on, be they physical or virtual machines. So right now we're going to create or edit a local test run testing file. So we'll click on that and then we'll click open. If you wanted to create a new testing file from scratch, you would click on new. So this is our test settings file. So on the first page here we can see we can edit the name, we can put in a description, and we can specify whether this is for manual or automated. We're creating a local test settings file for manual, so we're going to leave that as manual. Here you can specify the roles for the different machines that are going to be used. Again, as this is a local test run file, we're going to keep this local. If this were for an automated test settings file, you would specify the server roles and the testing roles in here. Next page is our data and diagnostics page. If I had multiple roles in this test settings file, they would all be listed along here, and I would select the role and then select the different diagnostic data adapters to be applied to each role. As this is a local run, we just have a local machine, and we're going to go through the diagnostic data adapters now. So the first one here is the action log. This is used to record your keystrokes and mouse clicks, and is used to create action recordings. You can configure this by clicking over here, and you can specify what programs your action strokes are recorded for. So you can go down through this list and you can pick to specify which programs you want to be captured. When you're creating your action recordings, you can also configure this to capture any delays that you have while you're recording. So if you're filling out a form and you press submit and there's a delay between pressing submit and it advancing to the next section, you can specify that delay here. You can also specify some playback settings. We're going to leave them as the defaults. The next diagnostic data adapter is the ASP.NET Client Proxy for IntelliTrace and Test Impact. Basically, you'll tick this on when you are using a server, IntelliTrace collection on a server to collect data on IntelliTrace. If your application is an ASP.NET application, you can also capture IntelliTrace events from a local machine here. The next diagnostic data adapter is code coverage. Ticking this and having it configured in conjunction with your build management on your testing server will allow the testers to be notified if a developer has made changes to the code. The next data adapter is the event log. This is handy when you're running test cases and you want to capture all the different events that are being logged while you're performing the test case. These are then attached to any bugs or test results which you may log at the end of the test run. You can go in here and you can configure this to capture application or hardware events. You can specify which kind of different events to capture. So we're going to leave that be. Untick that. The next data adapter is the IntelliTrace data adapter. Basically, ticking this would allow the developer to play back what happens or what was recorded when the tester was creating the test or was running the test case, and basically helps the developer recreate the exact conditions where the bug occurred. Again, this is dependent on having a test controller and test agents set up to record the diagnostic data. The next one is the screen and video recorder. This is handy if you've got particularly tricky bugs that are hard to recreate, and maybe you just need to show video evidence that you are getting a particular bug. You can come in here and you can configure this. You can enable voice recording if you need to talk over the video to specify exactly what actions you're taking or what you're seeing when you're performing the test case. You can specify whether to save recordings or not if a test case passes, bearing in mind that these recordings are saved on the TFS server. So if you're recording these for every test case you run, be it successful or a failure, it is going to eat up a lot of space on your TFS server. You can also specify some recording quality options here. The next one is also applied standard on a local test run, and it's system information. So it's collecting information about the machine that's carrying out the testing. So it's collecting CPU information, memory information, what OS the local testing machine is running, and if it's an internet application, what browser it's been performed in. The last diagnostic data adapter is the test impact data adapter. Basically, when this is marked on, it identifies what lines of code, method and classes were executed when the test case was run. When a developer makes changes, this will identify if code has been changed in a test case, and it'll suggest these test cases to be run again by the testers. This is working in conjunction with the recommended tests function in the tracking page. But again, this is reliant on having build management and test controllers and test agents set up. So when you've specified what diagnostic data adapters you wish to use, you can continue on to the next page, which is basically just a summary of the different settings you've created for this test settings. So I can see here my name, description, what roles I'm running, and what data and diagnostic adapters I have switched on. If I go back and I turn on one of these, you can see these are added in straight away. So when you're happy with your test settings file, you can click finish, and your test settings file is now saved. Oh, and then you can save this on the run settings for the test plan.